Horses parading around for the first leg of the quaddie here. Boulder, Parts and Towing. Remembering Richard Hill handicap over 1,200 metres, and our favourite is getting shorter by the minute. Now into $1.60 is Debonnaire as he looks to go 3 in a row for Fiona Scott and Victoria Corver. Won a Class 2 1,200 going back 2 starts ago, beating Secret Attire, and then won a Class 2 1,400 with 61 kilos, beating Brazen Empress. Comes up in grade here, but comes back to 59 kilos. Won from barrier number 1 last start. Goes around from barrier number 1 here. He's a lightly raced 4-year-old by Piero, a former Bob and Sandra Peters owned galloper who looks like he's going to make his way through the grades really nicely here on the Goldfields. $1.60 the current price about Debonnaire. Very hard to beat here in race number 4. Number 2, Cocoon Bay, has her first start for Helen Harding. Had 15 runs in the care of Steve Wolfe and now transfers up to the Goldfields. Comes into it 6 weeks between runs. Last seen in a graduation at Belmont when leading and fading. To be beaten a long margin behind My Jimmy. 1,400 metres back to 1,200 on the fresh side. I thought you could get a cheeky run here at double figures out of Cocoon Bay. Braden Garth rides here for Helen Harding. Number 3, Elite Fighter, is now also with Helen Harding. Had a couple of runs for the stable at Esperance and Albany when last in work. First up without a trial here today, and has had 5 runs first up in a couple of different stables over the years, and is yet to run a minor placing. So normally takes a couple to reach full fitness, Elite Fighter, and probably at this stage of his career better known as more of a 1,400 metre, 1,600 metre type. He's a $26 chance here today. Number 4, Honest Legend, Tash Faithful riding for Peter Fernie, does have an abundance of early speed if they elect to use it. They've tried to sit him at his last couple, and he's been fair, beaten 5 by Hidden Ruby and 6 by Captain Rogers. But if they did want to use up his speed from that draw, he could probably find the front here. At the moment, it's a bit of a question on just how well he's going, though. A $14 chance. Number 5, Princess Chunk, to be ridden today by Lucy Fiore, comes out of a race behind Hidden Ruby when settling at the rear and making noticeable late ground to be beaten just under 2 lengths. She's always a mare that's flashed a lot of ability. Her 2 wins at Kalgoorlie almost have to be seen to be believed. They were very, very impressive, but they were also now 427 days ago. Senior rider goes on second up, draws wide but tends to get back regardless. Looking for the greater flash home late, a $5 chance, Princess Chunk. Number 6, Soldiers Camp. The blinkers go on here. Eliane Robinson prepares and Chanel Cooper takes off 3 kilos. A 4-year-old by A-Lot who's won 1 from 10. That was a Mount Barker maiden over 1,300. Probably finds a fair few sharp ones here in what is a pretty deep 58 plus. Is still eligible for a Class 2. I think that if they keep racing this horse on the Goldfields, they can have some fun with him. But he might find these a little bit too sharp today. $12 the current fixed odds price. Number 7, Moonlight River. Cassie Martin rides here for Brian Allen. Beaten 10 lengths by Perori and 5 1/4 by Wanna Cracker, and now hasn't raced for 6 weeks. Basically going to watch this mare go round today, see where she's at. She's a 70 to 1 outsider of the field. Number 8, No More Dust. Christy Bennett riding for Paul Tapper, a 5-year-old mare who's a month between runs and 1,400 back to 12. Just struggling on the Goldfields. Has never actually run a placing after 13 attempts. For that reason, she goes around a 50 to 1 chance here today. Number 9, Symphony in Red, who was a very impressive winner at her first start on the Goldfields, getting down the outside, and Muso, who's well thought of in the next couple of races here today. Then went to a 58 plus and ran into Kakadu on a day where you struggled to make much ground. She was wide and working throughout, and I thought she stuck to her task pretty well. She's an alarming drifter in betting, though, now out to $9.50. The final runner here, also from Helen Harding's yard, giving Helen 3 runners in this field of only 10, is for Lisa Staples. It's a mare called Wins a Lot, who is a bit ironically named because she doesn't actually win that often. She's won 4 from 48, the last of those over 500 days ago. She'll settle midfield with cover. She tries hard, wins a lot, but her wins are few and far between, and $34 seems about price for her. Debonnaire, all the rage here with punters, very popular. Shorts, 160 at the start of this preview 4 minutes ago, now into $1.50, so the money continues. Princess Chunk, the only other horse in single figures, holding up around $5. Symphony and Reds all the way out to 10. My numbers are 1, 9, 2, 5. 1 Debonnaire to make it 3 in a row and stamp himself as a nice progressive type on the Goldfields. From 9 in Symphony and Red, who will get back and charge late. 2 Cocoon Bay, a bit of a watch for the new yard. And 5 Princess Chunk, who is a solid return to racing behind the stablemate Hidden Ruby. 1, 9, 2 and 5, but I do think that Fiona Scott and Vicky Corver have got a pretty nice one here for this grade of racing. I'm going with Debonnaire to make it 3 in a row, and so's Royce Newton. He'll be with you 3 minutes for the call of the Boulder Parts and Towing, remembering Richard Hill handicap.
Okay, runners behind the line here. This is the first leg of today's main quaddie. It is the Boulder Parts and Towing. Remembering Richard Hill handicap over the 1200 metres, field of 10, and they have really come strong here for Debonnaire into 150 fixed, 180 on tote, but getting into sort of unbackable odds. Debonnaire 150, very handy horse on the up and drawn well today. On the second line is Princess Chunk at $5, and with the weight of money Debonnaire is holding, there's a host of double-figure chances. We've only got 2 in single figures, so write your own ticket for the remainder of the field. It's all about Debonnaire at $1.50 and $1.80 on fixed odds, and the parimutuel as the very slight misty rain starts to fall prior to the first leg of the late quaddie this afternoon. So runners are coming forward here. The dark blue colours of Helen Harding's. We've got 3 in them. Wins a lot the white, Elite Fighter the black, Cocoon Bay in the customary navy, dark blue, and of the 2 Fernie runners, we've got Honest Legend in the normal yellow cap, and Princess Chunk, who is a grey, will don the black cap. As Moonlight River goes forward, so we're still waiting on Wins a Lot, Soldiers Camp, also out of line, No More Dust, and Honest Legend, so 3 or 4 to come forward. 145 now, Debonnaire, they still continue to come for this horse. There was a rumour he was going to Perth after his last win, but he's back at the KBRC where he's doing some fantastic work. Looking for the hat-trick today. Here's Princess Chunk going forward. Thanks, Stu. As Tab Radio join us, it's the Boulder Parts and Towing, remembering Richard Hill handicap. Soldiers Camp, the last one to come forward. And the red lights are on over at the 1200, the first leg of the main quaddie, and the starter wasted no time. They're off racing. Now Honest Legend straight out the back door together with Elite Fighter. It was Wins a Lot with early speed going straight to the front up there as well. Cocoon Bay also trying to drive across early on at Soldiers Camp. Debonnaire holding his position down on the inside as well. So as they settle into stride, it's congested up front, and it's Moonlight River who shows the way narrowly from Wins a Lot. Third Debonnaire, 4 Soldiers Camp doing additional work. They were followed by Cocoon Bay, and then we had Symphony and Red, Elite Fighter, the fence being followed by Honest Legend. Princess Chunk well back, and last of all it's No More Dust. So 600 metres to run on the Charles Street side of the course, and it's Moonlight River, the pacemaker, showing out. There's Debonnaire, who just pops off the fence now for clear running. They were followed by Soldiers Camp on the improve. Next of all, Symphony and Red down on the inside, Elite Fighter, together with also Cocoon Bay. Princess Chunk, your widest runner, No More Dust. They're in the straight now, and it's Debonnaire. Debonnaire hit the lead. Princess Chunk down the outside with a run. They were followed by Symphony and Red, but it's Debonnaire past the 150. Nicely clear. Princess Chunk, the only danger. But Debonnaire, he's looking special, isn't he? That's 3 in a row at Kalgoorlie. Wins by 3. Princess Chunk second, third Symphony and Red. They were followed in by Honest Legend. Then we had No More Dust, followed next of all by Cocoon Bay, Wins a Lot, Soldiers Camp. And last to greet the judge was Moonlight River. Debonnaire Just point and steer, Victoria, because this horse is far too good. Far too good. And just given a flick with the reins at the top of the straight, and Debonnaire shot to the lead, never to be caught. Princess Chunk started her run down the outside. We had a $1.45 favourite and a $5 second favourite in pursuit. Everything else in the field was double figures, and it's gone that way. 159 gets fourth in the form of Symphony in Red. But this is looking a pretty special horse, Debonnaire. That was a pretty handy field, and he's taken care of this field with ease. That was a sprinting masterclass by Debonnaire, by Piero from La Moulin, trained by Fiona Scott, ridden by Victoria Corver, and owned by Michael Harding. Handy one for the Esperance-based owner. 5 gets second, Princess Chunk, Pete Fernie. Lucy Fiore by Vert de Gries from Fat Amy, owned by Andrea Ingles and Peter Fernie. Third in was the 9, that's Symphony in Red for Mark Forder, Matty Derrick by Flying Hardy from Miller Avenue, owned by Mark Forder, GC and Chiosi, and also B. Hammond. And fourth, we're just waiting for a number. It's going to be a dead heat. Yep. 4 and 8. So 4 and 8, a dead heat for fourth. That's Honest Legend, and also No More Dust. So it's 1, 5, 9, a dead heat, 4 and 8. Interim after the running of race 4. Race 5 is next, the Golden Mile Cleaning Handicap. Over the short course, the 1100 metres, 10 past 3. The start time, the emergency's not required. 10 to run. Your favourite is, well, we've got equal favourites here. Twist of Gold and Duo Muso at 3.20 each. But in the meantime, the numbers after the running of race 4, 1, 5, 9. Dead heat for fourth, 4 and 8.